Hey everybody, and welcome to our first Member Make Challenge. And this is July, so all of those of you who are out there already, go ahead and tell us where you're from, what your name is, and we'll have Emily, who's over here, shout it out for us. And while we're waiting for a few more people to join us, I think I'm gonna tell you why I decided to do this. My sister, who's also an artist, she started this group, I would say probably about four years ago, where she joined this group, online group. It was through Facebook, and every month they would have a teacher come in and do a challenge, and they were doing kind of this collage, beautiful collage artwork where they learned different techniques. And I think she was paying like $125 a year to do this. And it was so fantastic. She loved it. She just got so much out of it. And I kept thinking, I've been thinking about this for over a year, that I really want to do this for our annual members where we have this challenge. I'll teach you new techniques. You can even ask for which techniques that you'd like me to teach you in future videos. And we can just learn together and have this beautiful community of makers together. So we're going to open that all up to you guys to talk about, and that was partially why we opened up this Facebook for you guys, is so we could have these conversations and really get down to the nitty-gritty of what we want to learn, right? Isn't that a lot of fun? So Emily, who do we have so far?
We have Susan Billingsley here.
Hello,
Caroline Buckman
Caroline
is here. Lindsay's here. There's over 30 people here. So
Okay.
say hi,
Yay!
everyone.
All right. We started with 30 people. That's great for our first time. The good thing is that this class will be available even after. We're going to shoot it live every time, so you can be here and you can ask me questions throughout. It might be a little long the first time because we're still, dusting it off, but I want to give you guys a really thorough instruction on how to make these roses. So ask your questions and Emily will shout them out as we're making. And we had sent out the pattern ahead of time and let you know what your list of materials were, so that if you were able to get your materials and get things cut out, you can work along with me. I tend to work a little faster because I've been doing it for a while, but don't get frustrated because you will have this video available and you can go back and watch it again and again. So we've set a few things up for you that I want to tell you about, but don't worry about writing it down because Emily's actually writing this underneath the video here, so you'll have access to all these links. But just to let you know, so we have set up a page on our site, and it's leahgriffith.com / annual-member-maker-challenge. Go ahead and book that for you guys, for yourselves. And that is where we're going to keep the library of every single month. So you can always go there, find your links that you need, click through, you can find the video link there, you can find the pattern link there, everything that you need, maybe even the list of materials there for every month. So we have that for you. We'll also have the links below the video, so you can access those there, and we will have the links on the Facebook group page. So we just want to make it really thorough. You guys can find it everywhere. You don't need to hunt around. So yes, and again, you can watch this anytime you want. You can go back and watch it and share it with your friends who are also annual members with us, that they can make along with us as well. So the way that we're going to do this is every second Friday of the month, I will do the class. So you can mark your calendars every second Friday. We're going to see, I might be traveling here and again, and we'll arrange that. We'll let you know ahead of time. But let's just make it every second Friday. And then every last Friday is when we'll announce the next class for the next month. That will give you the Wednesday before our last Friday. We will remind you of these dates, so don't worry about it, other than we kind of wanted to make it a regular second Friday, so that it's an easy memory there, but we'll remind you of all of this. So every Wednesday before the last Friday is when we would love for you to have your images submitted, and we're wanting you to do that on our public Facebook page so that everybody can see them. And all you have to do is #MemberMakeJuly for this month. And if you do that, we will want to collect these photos and share them out on our social. We might even put some on our site as well, just to show what the community is doing, because this is what it's all about, right? It's about creating this community. Emily?
Yeah, plenty of questions already. Diane
Yes.
Potter is here from Northern California. Hi, Diane. She'd like to know if we've created an SVG file for this flower.
I believe we have. And if we haven't, it will take 2 minutes to do, so we'll remind someone upstairs in the office to do that. Oh yes, I wanted to tell you guys, I have a couple newsy things I want to share with you as we have more people coming in if we have time. Okay, first of all, we started this month because we just moved our offices, and we had some amazing, beautiful offices in this loft space downtown, but we ended up wanting to go back to a home environment because we really want that lifestyle feel. So this right here is our new studio. This is my home office studio where I'll be doing all of these type of videos, and we'll be doing our craft school videos here as well. So that's really exciting. Keep your eyes open on our site, because we'll do different tours of different rooms as we kind of get everything ready. So another thing I wanted to tell you guys, no one has seen this yet, so you're the first. We got the first samples of our new book. Yes, you have to zoom in, Matthew. Matthew's at the camera today. It is gorgeous. I was so thrilled with this book. It's on pre-order right now, so you can go in and get it.
I'm adding a link now.
Okay, yeah, Emily's adding a link. So the photos they just turned out so beautiful. This is the book that I wrote between Christmas and New Year's last year, and it just came off the press, and it's actually releasing August 7. So if you pre-order it, I think you might even get it in your mailbox on August 7. So I go through, I have all my materials and tools, and then I have techniques here. So this is a lot of stuff. You can go to the book and learn techniques, and you can learn them here with me. I always love having books. I'm funny like that. I'll get the video and I'll get the book, and then we go through and have 21 flowers that we teach you throughout the book in our style, how we like to do all of our step outs. And then we get to the back, and I teach how to actually style some of these. Let me flip through. Okay, so how to arrange them. I have different techniques of arranging. And then in the very, very back, I wouldn't cut these out because the book is too beautiful, but you can copy these or you can print them. We have links so you can print them, and we also have SVG cut files on all of these patterns. And okay, so 21 flowers, and this book is only, I think it's $16.99 full price,
Yeah.
but they often have it on sale. So what a great deal. So I highly recommend I'll go put in your pre-order. I wanted to make it super affordable so that this is usable. This is not a coffee table book. This is an actual reference book, so you can open it up and use it. Okay, isn't that exciting? Let's get going on our paper flower. Is everyone ready? Do we have some more people that want to do a shout out?
Lots of people here.
Okay.
Sue Bowen is very, very excited, and she loves
Yay.
the colour of the wall behind you.
I know. Look, you guys, I wore my matching color. I wanted to kind of blend into my wall. No, I didn't do that on purpose. All right, I'm gonna put my notes away. So anybody else? Go ahead and shout out. You can interrupt me anytime, Emily.
Diane Potter's very excited. She was wanting the website again. I've posted that both in the description and in the comments here. Who else have we got? Say hi, guys. Say hello.
Yes.
Let us know that you're here.
Do a shout out. We want to hear from you. Okay, I am going to pull out all my pieces. I went ahead and pre-cut everything because that does take a little time. I actually sat down on my sofa last night and watched some TV. It's really hot here in Portland, Oregon right now. We have some nice air conditioner on this floor, but I sat in front of my TV and cut all of these out so that I had them done and you wouldn't have to watch me cut, because that takes a while. So what I'm going to do is I've cut it all with the pattern, and you can see there's petal 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we also have a center petal, and it has the grain marks. Make sure you follow the grain marks, and it tells you how many petals to cut for each. So actually every one is 5 petals, except for the first one is just 1. And I am using this gorgeous, I have it right here. I'm using this gorgeous, okay, and you're gonna have to remind me the name. We have so many crepe papers now, I can't remember the names all the time. I think this one is cherry.
Yes.
And then this side is
raspberry.
Raspberry, okay, cherry and raspberry, that makes sense. So this is a beautiful double-sided paper that's in our set, and it comes with the plums and the aubergine. I think it's aubergine and I can't remember the other color. So it comes in a 2-pack. And what I found is I can make at least 2. I made these out of one of these rolls. So I made 2 roses and then 2 buds out of 1 roll. Now, I want to show you guys this because this flower, I went back and forth, so I used both sides. And then this flower, I used the dark, the raspberry. And then for the flower I make today, I'm going to use the cherry. So we can see all different versions. But the thing that I love about, you know, using this double-sided is even when, because of the way the paper curls and a little bit of reflection, it gives it a lot of variation. Look at that. You can see how when you turn the side, it gets kind of a different color. I did not use any pan pastels, which is something that some of you know I like to do. I didn't use any pan pastels on this rose today. You could if you want to, and hey, if you want to add that to your challenge, go for it. So I'm also using some of this green, and I chose, and again, sorry, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but we have the two-sided. Are you going to tell me?
The green tea and the cypress.
Okay, green tea and cypress. So
and
it's the two that match the best. The other one has a lighter green. I wanted a closer tonal. All right, so that's what we've done. We've cut it all out, and I was already starting to make my bud here, but I'm going to hold that for later. Starting with my circle piece, this round ball, this is a 1-inch foam ball, and if you don't have foam, you can crumple up some tissue paper or some paper towel or something and make, I would say, a 1-inch-ish ball, and that works too. All right, these wires, this has become one of our favorite wires. They now sell them on Amazon. They're actually made in Thailand. They're paper covered. They're a little bit thicker. They're an 18 gauge, but they have a thicker hold to them. So we love it. If you don't have them, just use your regular wire. It's just one of our favorites that we found. So I'm just going to insert that into the ball. This is always a good idea. Add a little bit of hot glue into that hole and then replace it so that you don't have any flower heads popping off your stems. Okay, I think I've showed this trick before, but I'm going to show you guys again. Put a little bit of hot glue on the back of your glue stick and then slide it in, and that way it keeps it from falling out when you have a new glue roll. Okay, my first petal, I'm going to use, okay, so I'm putting the dark towards me and the light towards you, and then I'm going to stretch it into a cup. I'm doing about as much stretch as I can to the center. And then, you know, when I work with any crepe paper, but especially the double-sided, I just imagine that I have clay in my hands, and I just carefully mold it and stretch it gently. So I'm giving it this really deep cup in the center. Then I'll place this ball, and I'll want to shape this. And you might even want, let me pull this out again. You might even want to go ahead and stretch it almost to the end, because this will wrap all the way around your ball. Okay, so place that there, and then you'll want to stretch it around and shape it so that you get this beautiful point. Something like this. I have to turn it around so I can see it. All right, so it looks like this. And then I'll add my glue. You know, and once you have this in place, I put too much glue on that. Okay, once you have this in place, if it's not perfectly center, you can just take your wire and bend it. You'll want it to come out. Oh, look, actually it's not even glued to the ball, so that worked out better. You'll want your point to come out pretty much straight off of your wire. Can you see that? And I put too much glue right here. I think it's gonna be covered so it won't show, but I do try to be careful. All right, then we're going to go to petal number 1. And I have 5 of these, and this is where the curling tool comes in play. If you don't have a curling tool, then just use the edge of your scissors. You can either just use this edge, or if you are really brave, go ahead and open it and use the sharper edge. I do adore this tool. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to want the bright edge towards you, or away from you, and the darker towards me. And I'm going to very carefully curl. Now, there's a trick. I'm going to show you this trick. So my grain, I have this at an angle, but I'm pulling it directly with the grain. Because if I pull it this way, it's going to stretch, and I don't want it to stretch. It takes a little bit of practice. If you want to cut out some extra pieces, or you have scraps, just practice on the scraps. So I, again, angle, but I'm pulling it straight. Angle, but I'm pulling it straight. And I'm gonna just do this a little bit more.
Janet Miller is asking if the rose is in the new book.
There is a variation. This one is actually kind of special for you guys. I was wanting to make it a little bit different because, you know, every time we make a rose, we figure out something that we want to do better. So this was my first prototype that I made when I was working on this one. And you can see how flat it is on top. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want it to be more rounded. So here's my second prototype. This is the one you guys have in the pattern. This one I thought it's pretty, I'm gonna keep it anyway. The rose in the book is a little bit different. The petals are about the same shape, but they're longer. So again, I think this is the superior rose. But the book, you can look at that and you can see how you can make different sizes of roses, which I'll talk about today too. All right, I'm gonna finish this 5. We're gonna try and not make this a 2-hour class, but if it does, oh well, you can fast forward. Okay, so sometimes I might even take my fingers and roll them a little bit more like this. I have a little bit of a gimpy finger, you guys. Is that politically correct or incorrect? Anyway, I actually almost cut my finger off a few weeks ago, and I had stitches, and it's pretty much healed, but I have to exercise it to get it to go straight again. Ah, yes. And I'm left-handed, which is not a good idea.
Caroline Buckman is here. She says hi. She'd like to know if you're using a low temperature glue gun.
Yes, thank you for asking. I always use low temperature. I just don't like to burn my fingers anymore. And low temperature works great for crepe paper. Okay, so these are all done. I will give it just a little tiny bit of a stretch in the center, not much. Just a little bit. Then the first petal, this is important. I'm going to put the glue just one line about halfway straight down the middle. The reason is because I'm going to tuck a petal underneath, so I don't want the glue to be holding the flower in a way that I can't tuck that petal back in. I want to do a rotation. All right, so I'm going to place that on, and you can see how I have it. This is the trick with this new pattern that I just made for you guys, is that every point should hit the wire, and if you do that, your petals should come out in the right shape, you know, to create the rose formation. Okay, so then the next one, you can go ahead and do it like a little triangle, and we do a rotation. So we want 5 petals. So you'll want to think about maybe not quite halfway overlapping the petal. Whoops. So you'll see the dark color is in the center and the bright is coming out, which I think I did that wrong. I think I was supposed to go the other way, but we're gonna flip it anyhow. We're gonna, on the next petals, we're gonna make the lighter color, the cherry show. All right, so there's my third. It's kind of funny because I don't usually make flowers facing this way. I usually make them this way, but I want you guys to see, so bear with me. We'll figure it out, right?
Rebecca Moore would like to know if this flower works with the extra fine crepe paper.
You know, you can. I would be really delicate with it and be careful not to overstretch. Since this paper doesn't have as much stretch, the pattern's really set up for this. But yeah, if you want to, or here's another idea: take 2 sheets of your extra fine and use Pellon and iron them together, and then you have some double-sided in your own color palette. All right, here's my final petal. I'm gonna add some glue back there. All right, did I stick this? My clever idea, okay. And I'll tuck this petal right under the first one, and then place that. So there's my first set. Now, just so you know, if I were making a rosebud, this is where I would stop, and then I have some special larger sepals that I add, you know, to the back that really cover it. You can see this. The sepals are really big. So that's where my rosebud would stop. And if you want to, you can kind of look at the face like I'm doing now, and I might even add a little bit of extra glue in there to close up my petals a bit. So I wanted to mention something. Remember how I said I did it the wrong way? Okay, I like to say this a lot, but there really is no wrong way because flowers are always beautiful. Crepe paper is so forgiving, and it's just another variation. There's no right or wrong, it's just a variation. And that's what's going to be so fun, watching you guys make your roses and show us, you know, what you come up with, because everyone has their own brilliance, and I love to see that. Okay, there's the first one. Then we're going to petal number 2, and it's the same thing. This is actually a very, very simple technique. Again, I want to make sure that it comes out in the brighter, so I'll light towards me. Okay, right? As I curl. And if I did it the other way, that's all right. So there's one more step on this petal. The first one, I just do the curl, and a little bit of stretch. I'll show you the next step I do here.
So Sue is joining us from the UK, and they
Hello,
are
Sue.
8 hours ahead.
Yeah,
so
I want to know what time it is there.
Yeah, it's almost 8:30, and she's saying that next time she's going to join us with a glass of wine.
Oh, please do. I have my iced coffee here because it's really hot outside. But a glass of wine sounds lovely. All right, so there's all 5. The next thing I'll do on this is I'll stretch just the center point. Can you get in there really close, Matthew? I'll show you another one here. Okay, so I'll see if I can bend it. I'm just gonna take my fingers and just stretch that. And what it does is it throws this little kink right in the middle, and that is such, you know, a rose petal look, is to have that little tiny kink. And sometimes, you know, the roses are a bit tattered on the edge if they're an older garden rose. I've seen some crepe paper flower makers actually do that. All right, so I've thrown my little stretch. And then again, I'm going to stretch out the center. And I'm not doing a lot of stretch, so I'm not doing a full, I'm leaving some of the crinkle in there. Another thing you can do, this is an option, you can also give yourself a little kick right there, and I'll show you when I glue it to the flower way. And that's helpful sometimes. Okay. Again, one line for the first one. And then when I place it, I have to do it this way first and then I'll turn it around. When I place it onto this, I want to cross over so that I'm not layering petals straight on top of petal. So you can see here's the other 2 petals, which is center of this. You can see that? And then I'll go ahead and do my little triangular point there. And again, not quite a half. Don't want to cover quite half of the petal before it.
Leah, do you have any tips if somebody rips the paper while they're stretching?
Yes, if you rip your paper while you're stretching, you'll remember to be a little more gentle next time, right? I mean, again, I just really try to act as if it's clay. Okay, I've just tucked my last petal under the first one. Sometimes if you rip the tip and you haven't gone so far, you can go ahead and use your scissors and clean it up. Or if you rip a place on the petal that's tucked underneath, you can glue it back together, or you can put it aside and cut another one, right? All kinds of options. Okay, so there's the next one. I'm feeling like my point opened up a bit more than I want to. So it's always good for you guys to see when things aren't quite the way I want them, how I might fix it. So I'm gonna go in here and very carefully, because once you get hot glue on crepe paper, you always see it. So I'm very carefully going to add just a touch of glue inside and then gently press it together. You don't, that's just a fix if it doesn't quite get as tight as you want it to be. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll go on to our next petals. Oh, I was going to tell you about why I did that last little kick, but I'll show it to you this time. All right, same thing. So the light color towards me. And, oh yes, one more thing. So you'll see when you're cutting out your petals and the way that the paper is folded, you get these creases. Two things you can do. One, you can iron them, or on some flowers like this one, you can ignore it because by the time you use your curling tool and by the time you stretch it, it goes away. Sometimes I iron it though, especially if I'm doing a video and I want it to look really perfect. And you know, when you're curling, this paper is fairly sturdy, so I rarely rip this unless you do a huge tug. I rarely rip this paper when I'm curling, but I still go really gently and go over a few passes. And then I like to roll it with my fingers too. So there's 3. So if any of you have just joined us or you haven't told us where you're watching from, please send Emily a little note and she can do a shout out.
Do you want to remind people how to submit their own versions of this?
Yes. So you can submit your own version by posting your image of your flower onto our Facebook page, our business page, not my personal one. If I see it on my personal one, which I rarely go there anymore, I'll remind you. But on our business page, and do hashtag member makes July. Member make July, not makes, no S. Do we have to make it that complicated? Okay, no S. We'll look for the ones with the S too. Oh dear. We tried to make this simple, really. Okay, same thing. I'm going to give it a little stretch in the center. You know, sometimes when you try to make it so simple, it becomes more complicated. The important thing is that you guys are crafting and that we're all having fun and we're drinking our wine or our coffee or whatever it might be as we do this together. Okay, little stretch. And then again, just a very slight stretch in the center. The reason why I'm not doing a big cup stretch on these petals is because I want them to lay flatter as we roll out. I'll tip this here so you can see it. I want them to lay flatter, and when I do this extra little kick here, which I'll show you now, this actually helps it sort of move away from the last petal. Can you see that? Yeah. So that's why I do that. So tiny little stretch. So I want to know, is there anyone out there actually making this rose with me, or are you all just watching? And if you do want to make along, let me know how we can do it better. Or if you just want to watch it and make it later, that's fine too. But give us feedback. We always love to hear from you guys and know what works and how we can, you know, better serve you, because this is all for you guys. All right, so again, one more petal. I'm putting it pretty much on the seam of the overlay of the last one. And then we'll continue with triangles on these. I put the triangle just because I do want a little bit more glue. And I am really lining each petal up in the same spot. So I tried to design this pattern so that it would be really easy for you guys to line up. And I think that's the difference between this one and the book. You know, just had a little bit more time to perfect it. And glue strings happen. You know, people ask me, how do you get rid of your glue strings? You don't, you just pull them off when you're done. That's just the joy of hot glue. So as complicated as this rose looks and as detailed and delicate as it is, all right, I have my last one, so I'm tucking that under. You can see what I'm doing here. You want to zoom that in? Okay, so I just tucked it right under that first one. You know, I think that it's really simple. This flower is quite simple to make. You know, cutting it out is probably the most time consuming. Okay, then we'll go for our last set. And then it might take you a little bit of practice to learn the techniques of curling, but it's something, you know, you all can learn it. Whoops, I'm doing it the wrong way. Okay, that's okay. Okay, perfect. I just curled it the wrong direction. No problem. I'll flip it over and curl it back. I think that this paper is so forgiving. That's one thing that I absolutely love about crepe paper, is it's forgiving, and it's, I don't know, it's almost like you could crumple up a piece of crepe paper and glue it on a stick and it still looks pretty. Okay, maybe not quite that far, but you know what I'm saying. It's hard to make it look bad.
Diane Payne is saying that she's watching from New Hampshire. She tuned in at noon and then remembered that it was Pacific time.
Oh.
She went out to run errands and got back too late.
Oh, well, it's okay, Diane, because you can play this back anytime. And definitely do it. Play it back because you'll want to see. I showed everyone the new book at the beginning, that the paper flower book that we just got our first copy of. So the wider the petal, it does make it a little bit, you know, it takes a little more time to curl it. You just want to use a few more passes. And I think for me, the biggest petals, I really like to see that kink and that stretch and the curl of the petals, because I like to see them really form around. But when you glue them on, they actually sit pretty flat. So I almost don't even do any stretch on those last petals. Most important for me is that kink and then this curl. I just love the sound of crepe paper. I think I must dream about it in my sleep, that crinkly sound.
So a couple of people saying that their video is buffering. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, but if they go back to the beginning and just hit pause and let the whole thing load, is that going to help them be able to watch this more smoothly?
Yeah, it might.
Okay.
Yeah, when we're doing it live, you know, as we all know, the internet is not always reliable, so we definitely will have it full stream smooth. So if you need to go back and watch it, and like she said, if you just pause and let it catch up, obviously you're not going to be watching it live, but at least you'll still get everything. I just wish it were more reliable. All right, there's all 5. I did do that little kickback on the tip. One line first, and then I will start the first petal. And generous with the glue. So 2 different techniques. Sometimes I'll turn my flower upside down and just glue petals from the back, or sometimes I will kind of watch it as I glue them. Depends on what mood I'm in or how confident I am feeling. I just try to make sure that my rotation of all the petals goes the same direction. So if I rotate this way on each level, make sure they all go that way. Don't rotate back and forth. Well, partially, I mean, it's okay if you do, but it's in nature, it all rotates the same direction. And don't ask me if it's right or left, I have no idea. Maybe it's depending on if they're grown, but North Pole or I don't know. I don't know. Something like how water goes down the drain. Okay, and then the last petal again, I'm going to tuck it behind, and I'm going to show you another little technique. Once you have everything in place, and if you want to, you know, like you've seen me kind of going back and reshaping some things. So this looks pretty good. I'm pulling off a few glue strings. There's a few spots that I might kind of glue tighter. But one of the things that you can do, that I like to do sometimes, is go in and add a little bit more point and curl to the petals, even after they're glued in. And you can even add a little more stretch. So there's your rose. And I'll show you from the side and from the back. Can you see that? There we go. And then the last thing we're going to do, I have two different sizes of sepals here. I have one that's a bit thicker, and this one I saved for the bud, and then I have this thinner one.
Marie is asking if you can please show us the glue placement. She can't see it as it's pointed towards you.
Oh yeah, that is the trick, isn't it? Okay, so the glue placement, I'm going to use this petal, but this will be the same on all of them. So my first petal, I'll go about halfway, but straight down, just one line, like that. Can you see that, Matthew? I have a little shine, so I'll let, like this. Yeah. I'm watching here on a monitor so I can see it. All right, so that's the first one. And then the second one, I'll do something more like this, kind of a triangle. So just the tip. Does that help?
Perfect, thank you.
Yes. All right, so these guys, the only thing I'm going to do, they have a very similar color on each side, so I don't really pay attention to which side I'm curling. So I'll just curl all 5 of them. And I can't wait till I have 5 fingers again on my left hand. Okay, then I'm going to turn the rose over. Whoops, didn't want that. The side that has less curl, I'll just put that much glue. Can you see that? Yep. And I'll actually place this. I start it a little bit on the wire. Let me see if we can make sure you see that. There. So I place it right there on the wire, and then I lay it right on the 2 petals, where the 2 petals come together. That gives it a really nice finished look. And we'll just rotate that again all the way around the flower. I'm placing it onto this stem because I will add some floral tape on top of this once I put my leaves in, or when I start putting my leaves in. One thing that we've noticed about our hot glue guns, our low temperature hot glue guns, is that after a while they stop being low temperature and they become really hot. And since, you know, I think these little tiny ones run maybe, I don't know, $6 or so, we rotate through them. Like, we don't keep them once they start burning our fingers. Just so you know, they don't last forever. They're a little bit disposable, which is unfortunate. Okay, there's the back. Remove my glue strings, and I'll put this in here. So you can even see how this one and this one vary just a little bit. Like, this one still is more cut, is rounder on top, and that's simply because I didn't give this as much of a curl. So you can play with that a bit more. All right, so let's do some leaves. I have 2 different sizes of leaves. I have a large leaf and a small one. And here is, you can see the grain is very much sideways. I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut one leaf out for you just to show you how I do it. And if you've seen me do this a dozen times, well, here's a dozen in one. Okay, so if I'm doing more than one, I'll go ahead and cut the whole strip of crepe paper, or even if I'm doing one. So I place the leaf on the pattern. I'm going to tip this up. We often have an overhead camera, but we can't do it for live, so I'll try to do this more often. So we have, the grain lines need to match the grain. It's really, really important. And I would cut that all the way down, but in this case, I'm just going to trim it off. Then turn it around and cut that flat edge. This piece, all you need to do is flip it around, just rotate it. What degrees is that, Matthew? That would be a
180.
Not, is that a 180? No, is that a 180? Okay. All right, he knows. It's a 180, flip it around 180, and you can see how the grain matches each other again. And you have almost 2 identical pieces. I'm gonna place that on. If you need to, you can put a little clip on that to hold it, and then just trim around. And there you have a leaf. And the reason why I do my leaves on a cross grain is when we put them on the wire, we'll wire them, you have this beautiful V looking. I'm gonna see if I can get the light to catch that. So you can see how the grain of the crepe paper gives you such a beautiful V-cut leaf. Or V-shaped. The texture of the crepe paper just really adds to it. Okay, so now in my little drawer here, I have this wire. I always write on it because it's so tiny. It's easier to see in the drawer. So this is a 24 gauge wire that we love, and we have links to it below. It's Decora. You can find it on Amazon. If we don't have links, we'll make sure we do. And this one is 24 gauge. We like this gauge. I'm going to get one that's a little straighter. We like this gauge for our leaves. And this is the glue I like for leaves. So this is the quick dry tacky glue. And one of the things that I've learned from mistake is that you have to keep your lid on it because it gets hard. So when you're done, keep this. They fly off and disappear. Try to keep it. Very, very important. All right, so I have my wire cutters here. I'm going to just place this on the leaf. I'm going to say, okay, I want another 2 inches of wire. Clip that. It's easier to have shorter wire. It doesn't get in the way. Again, measure it with my fingers. So I'm going to place my fingers right on the edge here of the end of the leaf. Then, this is an easy way to do this. I'll just place it right into the glue and squeeze it so I get glue all the way to the top. Sometimes it's a little clumpy. And look at that, almost perfect. Very carefully place that onto the edge of the leaf. I usually like it closer, so I'm going to roll it just a little bit. And then place the other half of your leaf on top. And you know, when you're cutting your V's, or when you're placing your leaves, you'll want to make for sure that it's, let's see, yeah, it looks like a V. So it points downward in the center. You don't want it to be pointing the other direction. So let me turn it around because it looks better. You don't have so many glue globs. So that's kind of how it looks. And the white glue actually does dry clear. You don't want a lot of it all over your leaf because it does change the texture and make it shiny, but that's fine. This looks good. Once it's dry, I'll go ahead and clip the ends to kind of clean them up. Or I can do it right now even when it's not dry. I also like to clip this if I'm trying to be super perfectionist. Then, this is the fun part, and I'm not going to do all of them today because it will take too much time. I have my little tiny scissors here, and I'm sure you all have your favorite teeny tiny sharp scissors. This is my personal favorite, which happens to be the Fiskars brand that we just came out with. So I'm going to go in and do a tiny clip and then a V cut to get my little edges. And this takes some time to do.
Can you hold that towards the camera a bit more?
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe I could hold it like, I don't know. I'll see if I can do it backwards. I can't. All right, let me see what I can do here. Can you see that? Okay, let me see if I can do it on my blue shirt. How's that?
Sue says your poor finger so wants to join the party.
I know. It's just so... I don't know what to do. Every night I tape it up to straighten it, otherwise it becomes really curled. You guys, I had 6 stitches, and Emily was with me when it all happened, so she got to see. And
it was gnarly. It was really gnarly.
And it was right before we moved. Oh well, it's a good laugh now. Anyhow, so I'm not going to finish this because it'll take forever, but you can get the idea. Can you get in there? Yeah. So you want to jag that edge all the way up, and I will show you a finished rose. It's just beautiful. You can see here there's a couple globs of glue. It's not perfect and it's not wonderful. You could probably take some tweezers and pull that off. But you know, as you get better at using your tools, you'll be able to avoid that. Okay, so I will do all 3 leaves like that, and I'll go ahead and clip them out, but not today. We'll go back and do that later. Then I will do 1 small one and 2 large ones for this cluster right here. Want to show that close up, Matthew? So I'll just pull it back. So I'm going to put 3 leaves on 1 stem. I'll show you how to do that. Thanks guys for laughing with me about this finger. It is actually kind of funny. It wasn't in the moment though. Oh dear. All right, same thing with another one more large leaf and then 1 small one. Okay, we have a lot of glue going on today. I probably don't need to squeeze it. All right.
Carolyn is asking, what would the layout be to cut the leaves with the Cricut Maker?
Yes, so the way that we set out our SVG cuts, which is what you're going to want to download, we actually set them up in the proper alignment. So you'll want to make note of that. So we'll set it up on the SVG, so when it goes onto your board, it will be aligned just like that. And then, then make sure that you put the crepe paper on your board the same direction. I know that it's in our soon-to-be future that we do an SVG crepe paper video. In fact, I do know that. We will be doing that to show you exactly how to, work through all the little details. All right, now the 3rd leaf, last one.
Marie has had a great suggestion for our future maker challenges. She said that for those who want to make alongside you, that we should tell them how to pre-cut their patterns before we shoot a video, which is a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We did suggest that some people could go ahead and cut out their patterns ahead of time. As we all get to know each other better and this becomes more of a community, I think we'll figure out the best way to do it. I don't think we published it a whole lot to say, hey, go cut it out. And we didn't give any instructions, which is a great idea on how to cut them out. Okay, so last one. Thanks, you guys, and please more of that because we love it. Okay. I really press, when I put the wire between the 2 crepe papers, I really like to press it down, and it gives this cute little ridge, which looks very leaf-like. All right, now we're just going to pretend that all of these have the very delicate jags cut. Maybe I'll have one of the other makers do it who have all 10 fingers. We'll see. All right, so then I'm going to cut this a little bit. I just don't really like these hanging out, but you have to have them to get the overlap and then just go back and cut them. That's why I love these tiny, tiny scissors. Okay, so I'm going to take my floral tape. Sometimes it's easier just to cut a piece off. I don't even need that much. This is my small leaf. One of the reasons why I do love this paper covered wire is the floral tape sticks so well compared to the metal wire. It slides around just a bit. Right, I'm just going to start that, and I would say go down. I have glue on my fingers, so it's getting stuck in there. I always tell people, do all of their hot glue at once, do all of this type of glue at once, and then do their floral tape at once. This type of glue you can't see in the camera. There we go. And then do your floral tape at once because it has different stickiness on your fingers, and you can go wash your hands in between. I'll go ahead and finish this. So that one's ready. Then I will take these 2 and I'll place them, what is that, about 1 inch below on both sides, and then add that floral tape again.
Janet's asking where she can get the little microtip scissors. I'm adding some links.
Yes. The microtip scissors, these are, we actually have them on our site in our shop. These are Fiskars scissors, and they're actually Leah Griffith brand. So they made these especially for us because we knew we needed them. I don't know if they're on Amazon right now, but you can check. We'll double check and see if they're on Amazon or not.
Just checking now.
And I'm pretty sure Joanne has them. So, and I know we have them. So there's 3 different places you can find. So I am going to go ahead and tape this right onto my stem of my rose. Now, if you're doing an arrangement where you want your leaves to be separate from your rose, sometimes when you're doing a bouquet, you don't want your leaves with your roses. That way it gives you more control in designing your bouquet. Then I would just put this on another one of these stems and not onto the rose stem. But if you're doing a single rose or just a few in a vase, this is perfect. Okay, shall I talk about floral tape techniques? All right, so floral tape is not really sticky, and when you use it and you use the heat of your fingers and then just a little tiny stretch, it activates the stickiness. It's a wax, and then it will stick to itself. So tape is kind of a funny word because it's not really tape. Okay, so then I have my 3 leaves here. I'm gonna see if we can do this so you can all see it. I'll do it upside down. And I'll just spread this out this way and this way. I'm gonna bring it out from here. I love the wire because what I'll do now is just give it a bit of a wave, a shape, and then also a bit of a stretch. So you can have it shape in all different directions, and that makes it look so realistic. There. So there's my fast view, and then here's the one that's a little bit more perfected. And okay, next time I won't wear green. if I'm making something with green. Can you see that? And okay, see how when you cut the leaf the way I showed you, the 2 tones of green, you can see the 2 tones on the face on both sides, which I love. I love having that variation of tone, and that's partially why this crepe paper is so great. Okay, there you go. There's the rose. So the rosebud, I'm not going to make the whole thing just because we don't have a ton of time, but I'm going to remind you, you just do the very same thing where you do the center and then the 5 petals. These are larger sepals. So the way that I handled those was I did give them a really nice stretch right here at this thick section. So right here in the middle, I gave them a thick stretch almost all the way through. So there's no stretch left right there, but leaving a little bit on the edge so that you get a cup. Then I will give that a bit of a curl on the tip, and I'm just going to use this to show you, and then I'll glue them all the way around just like that. And it's quite simple. On this one I made 1 rose leaf, and this one I used the other color, and I didn't like it as well, so I probably wouldn't do that again, but I used the 2-tone. It's up to you. You guys be creative and do what you love. And then I just taped 1 leaf onto the bud to get that look. Matthew's trying to track me here. Sometimes I move too much. Matthew, you're doing a great job. I'll show you both buds, both of my finished buds.
It's on the table to your left at the front.
Oh, here it is. Got lost behind all kinds of things. So this one I varied back and forth. I did the colors one way and then the other way. Matthew, there we go. So you can see kind of the raspberry and the cherry, and then this one I just went in one direction. And you can see how it looks. Okay, so any other questions that you guys have?
I think we've answered all the questions. Lots and lots of love
Oh,
from
good.
our members.
Yay.
They're just absolutely adoring the rose. And maybe we could just run through one last time the idea behind this challenge and how to submit.
Yes. Okay, so those of you who heard me talk about this in the beginning, I'm just going to circle back. You can listen or not, whatever you want. So I have been wanting to do this monthly challenge for a couple years now. I got the idea, one of my sisters, who's a bit older than I am, she started doing this art group with a group that would do a monthly challenge. They would a video and they would make these beautiful collage paintings, and they would learn new techniques. And when I heard about what she was doing and how much she loved it, I thought, man, we need to do this for our members. So we've been thinking about it for a long time, and because we were able to move to this new space and we now have a dedicated video area again, yay, we decided this is perfect. Again, we don't have noise outside, that was a real challenge for us in the old spaces, having a little bit too much noise. So here we are, and we're going to be doing this every month, and we really want to create a community and really help you guys learn techniques and learn new even new materials, and anything that we can share with you and teach you. Please let us know what you want to know, and we can work that into our monthly challenges. And the whole idea is that you'll make this rose or something like it, make your version of it, and that you'll share it out. Submit it by July 25, which is a Wednesday. Submit it on our public Facebook page. So not my personal one, but
and not the closed one.
And not the closed one, right? So it's our public, which is actually Leah Griffith, Handcraft Your Life. That is the public Facebook page. So submit there with hashtag MemberMakeJuly. And we're going to show your work off to all of our members or all of our community. We have a lot of people who are on our email list and who watch us but aren't necessarily members, and they want to see what you guys are making because it really inspires them to get crafting. So let's create a new movement here. Let's create this crafters movement in this community, and I love it that you guys joined me today. Remember that this video is available. You can watch it again when you're making your rose. If you need to remember how I did something, go back, you can skip ahead, find that spot. It will always be here, both in the YouTube link. We'll always have it in the YouTube. We'll have it on our Facebook, and we'll also have the library, which is annual-member-make-challenge after leahgriffith.com. That's really complicated.
It is, yeah, sorry.
Okay, well, we'll have links everywhere. I mean, it's always going to be linked on the Facebook page. But if you need to go back and reference any of the months, because we'll just keep them going every month. Hopefully, this time next year we'll be so good at this, right? So anyway, help us make this an amazing community, and thank you so much. We'll see you next month, and I can't wait to see your roses.